I mean, we can't send all of our kids to therapists, and also, you know, the, it's like there's too much talking going on in this culture. No, but sometimes you just got to get off your ass and you got to act.
Yeah,
you got to do things in this world, and that's the best therapy in the world.
Yeah.
So I make the analogy in my book and in some of my talks that I see the power and the life out there in our work world as a game.
Mm-hmm.
It is a power game, and I frame it that way. And you're maneuvering. You're constantly maneuvering. It's this fluid game that you're playing where the parameters nobody really sets. The rules aren't very clear cut, but there are certain laws of power that you can operate to get ahead. It's the most amazing game you could ever play, and you should enjoy it and you should have fun. Well, let's start talking about things like that like life is a game. Get out there and be active. When it comes to dating, stop all this bullshit with your phone.
Yes.
Go out to bars, go to supermarkets, learn how to pick up on women, learn how to get over your fears and actually interact with them. So start acting and stop talking and stop overanalyzing things, but actually act in the world. That's, to me, the greatest therapy in the world. This is back in the 80s when people were first calling it a syndrome. And so much of the therapy was a talking therapy, right? And giving them these certain ideas about, let's talk about it, let's figure it out. He came up with these action strategies. He literally had you go out and do things that were your biggest fear.
Yeah.
Because OCD is all about fear, right? So if you're afraid of germs, go out and rub your hand in some dirt or whatever. He had them do this over time. He took brain scans, and their brains were literally changing. The brain was rewiring itself through these action strategies.
Yeah.
So when you take action, your brain changes, it adapts. That's how the human brain is. But if you're always internal, if you're just talking about things, none of that stuff is going on because it's not how our brains are.
Is the following. We humans tend to fixate on what we can see with our eyes. It is the most animal part of our nature. When we look at the changes and transformations in other people's lives, we see the good luck that someone had in meeting a person like Yost with all of the right connections and the funding. We see the book or the project that brings the money and the attention. In other words, we see the visible signs of opportunity and success. Change in our own lives.
Any emotional connection to what you're involved in. I give the example that I have personally is when I lived in France, I had spent years learning French in the university, but it never really sunk in because I wasn't paying deep attention to it. It didn't mean so much to me. But there I was in Paris, I had to struggle, I had to survive, I had to get a job, I had to get a girlfriend. And suddenly, because I had to do it, because it was important to me, because it was necessary, because it was what I call death ground. Either learn French or get the hell out, you're not going to be able to survive. I learned I wasn't lazy. So your laziness is something that has to do with you. You're not connected to something deep enough. You don't feel the necessity. You don't feel the devil at your heels. You don't feel the fact that you could very well die tomorrow that will impel you to get something done. There's no necessity behind it. And the human animal, the way we were created, is when we feel pressure, we feel the necessity to get things done. We can move mountains, and we have plenty of examples of that in history. But when that pressure, almost like a barometric pressure, releases, and we don't feel the need to get something done, we can become incredibly lazy because there's no necessity. So you have to create necessity in your life. You have to create the need to get things done. You have to give yourself deadlines. You have to remind yourself that tomorrow everything could go kaput. COVID could come back. You could be fired. You could die. You could have an illness. Give yourselves a sense of urgency that I need to get things done quickly. And then when it comes to making decisions, a lot of time what afflicts people is this idea of, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to start my own business. I'm not ready to quit this job. I'm not ready to break up with my relationship which is toxic or whatever. Give me another few months. I've got to prepare myself. I want you to get this idea that you are ready, that you have to try and do things before you think you are ready, right? If you think, well, I'm not prepared to start this business. I need to go back to business school. I need to learn more and more. Shut up and do it. Just jump in the water. You will learn more by starting before you think you are ready. By making that decision, your brain will kick into action. You will discover all this energy that you had that you didn't think you had. So make the decision before you think you're ready is the other thing. The final thing I would say is laziness is not all that bad. I must confess that I have moments of laziness. If I was always intense, if I was always on trying to write my books, I would probably be dead by now. And actually, I almost did die because of that. And I've learned over the years to always kind of incorporate moments and hours so where I waste the hell out of time. I'm looking on sports websites, etc. I'm surfing for this or that. I'm reading things that aren't really important. It's important sometimes to take downtime and let your brain unload and not be so focused and on. So it depends on if laziness is a chronic habit or whether you build a little bit of laziness in your day-to-day affairs and give yourself some leisure time, some time to relax. So that's how I would answer that particular question.
Right. Do you think if you choose hard today, you usually get easy tomorrow?
I mean, there's obviously a ton of nuance to this, but in many contexts, yes. So, for example, I was thinking of my father. My father would never he would avoid conflict at all costs. He would avoid the difficult conversation. And when I zoom out over the decades of his life and marriage, I go, man, that cost you big time.
You caught up with him?
Oh my God. And me inverting that in my own life and continually just confronting it head on has had the complete opposite effect. Like when you were talking about being a young man and making that decision because you had that voice in your head saying, law might not be my thing, and you made that phone call to your father.
Yeah.
Like what I hear you did is like you realigned yourself to you. Now, if you hadn't made that call and you'd let a couple more of those bad habits, you would have got to 40 and been like, who the fuck is this guy?
Right.
What is this life? You would have looked around and said, who is she? Who are they?
Right.
What is this job?
Right.
And that's that course correction that I think it requires you to do the slightly harder thing today. What do you think?
I agree with you. That's the resistance. Do you choosing, look, I still got to learn how to take a vacation because, there's sometimes when the wind's at our back and we've earned it. Mm-hmm. There's sometimes when it's easy street and it's like, yeah, don't interrupt this, man. This is a sweet ass song. Trust that the hill's coming. Again, don't be so impressed with this. And what I have to do is so fall into when things are going really well, I go, there it is. That's the mean. No, it's not. Not with any ambition, it's not. Or not with life happening, it's not. But my hunch, I want to see what you think about this theory, is rather you shoot for an A and make a C, it's rather better than shooting for a C and making an F. Now, so go for perfection. Reality always comes in under it. But in that moment, when you see the inevitable reality, the outcome, the result, how quickly can we go, okay, but I got so much more out of it, the job, the person, myself, because I went for perfection, than if I'd have just gone for, nah, dude, just pass class. It's again that little bit owner's renter's mentality. Mm-hmm. But what can be hard for me sometimes is it can take me too long to come down from when, it didn't hit perfection. Mm-hmm. And maybe it takes me a week to go, dude, now do you finally realize that, of course you weren't going to get perfection, but you got so much more out of it because you went for perfection.
Yeah.
So be pleased with reality, because you got a good grade on it, man. That was good. That piece of art wouldn't have been that true if you wouldn't have been. I always say this all the time, and I never mean this in a disrespectful way. I've never done a movie or a performance that lived up to what I thought it could be. Because I'm thinking it can be divine.